Ellie, and I am here to guide you through a really simple, really delicious broccoli mac and cheese. As a little disclaimer, I do use real dairy in this recipe, so if you have an intolerance or if you're vegan, or for whatever reason that you don't consume dairy, you can obviously substitute it for whatever your non-dairy options are. So your milk, you can sub, you can use vegan cheese instead of actual cheese, and you can of course use non-dairy butter if that is your preference. It is really, really easy to make and it's super fast. You'll have a bunch of leftover, so you can use it as a side for the other meals throughout your week, or you can eat it as a main meal like I did. I actually just made, I steamed a bunch of Brussels sprouts and then I just added them to the side of my mac and cheese, and it was super delicious. So without further ado, I will guide you through this recipe. So let's get started.
So here we're going to start off by making our roux. A roux is equal parts butter and flour, and it's just a thickening agent for sauces. And so here I have a 1/4 cup of butter, and I'm going to add garlic in just for flavor because I really like garlic in a lot of my recipes. I really like the taste, and it gives a really good flavor to the butter that's going to be part of the roux. After we add the garlic, then we're going to add in our equal parts of flour. Now that our flour is added, we're gonna whisk the butter and the flour together just to get out any lumps, because you don't want a lumpy roux, because then that just means that you get a lumpy sauce. And we're gonna stir it. It's gonna brown a little bit, so it's gonna go from like a paler white color to just a slight toasty off-white beigey kind of color. And then after that, we're gonna add our milk. You don't want to add in your milk all at once. You kind of want to give the roux time to kind of soak up all of the milk as you pour it in small batches. Here I have 2 cups of milk, so I just kind of do just a small pour as I go, and I'm slowly going to whisk it in until it all becomes nice and uniform, and it'll start thickening up as it heats up. So at this point, I actually traded in my whisk for this spatula. The sauce is getting heavier now, and I want to make sure that it doesn't stick or burn onto the skillet. And so the spatula does a much better job of that than the whisk does. I'm gonna add here my shredded cheese. You can actually use cheddar cheese if you prefer, or you can do your own blend of grated cheeses at home. It's completely up to you. And I'm also gonna add the Parmesan blend that I get from Trader Joe's. I really like the salt addition that the Parmesan blend has, so that we don't have to use as much towards the end of the recipe. So here is that cheese pull that I actually mentioned coming up. As you can see, it's a lot thicker and really stringy once the cheese is added. I'm gonna add some black pepper to taste, and then I'm gonna add in the pasta that I cooked beforehand into the cheese sauce. I actually just cooked the pasta earlier in the day so that I would have it ready when I needed it for the mac and cheese for dinner. I just cooked the pasta in water, and then about 3 to 4 minutes before the pasta was done, I tossed in the broccoli to steam it. I poured out the water, I put it all in Tupperware, and then it was nice and ready for me to use for dinner time so that I wouldn't have to spend as much time later on preparing my meal. So my cheese sauce was a little bit too runny, so all I did was add a little bit more pasta just to have it take up some of the cheese sauce. I think I just had too much sauce for my pasta to sauce ratio, and so all I'm doing here is folding it in nice and evenly so that the cheese gets on all of the pasta. I chose to do shells. You can choose whatever pasta shape that you prefer. I'm going to add just a little bit of salt. You don't need very much because cheese in itself has lots of salt. I'm just going to put it on top and then stir it in. So here is my broccoli. I add it in at the end just so that the broccoli doesn't break apart too much. You can add it in along with the pasta, it's totally up to you. My personal preference is just to add it in at the end. So we're gonna mix everything together, fold it all in, and then we're actually gonna top it with a little bit more of the Parmesan cheese blend, some black pepper, some breadcrumbs, and some red pepper flakes for a little bit of a spice. I like spicy food, so that's why I'm adding it. But if you don't like spicy foods, then you can completely skip the red pepper flake. So this is just a little video capturing what it looks like before I put it in the oven. So into the oven it goes for about 12 minutes, and that is it, guys. It takes no more than 45 minutes with all of the steps included, and it's super, super delicious.
Alright guys, that is it for this recipe. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you have any suggestions for other recipes, or if you would like to see a certain type of cuisine made, or a certain ingredient in a recipe, or how to do certain things, like how to make a, I don't know, like a balsamic reduction, which is really simple, or just any sort of skills that you are not confident in, please let me know. So I really hope that you enjoyed it. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I really, really appreciate you for watching this. Thank you. Bye.